This, you guys, is actually what magic actually looks like. I'm literally just missing my cauldron, and I don't feel like getting up to go get it. Hey guys, it's mysticrainn here. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be making mojo bags. I feel like you guys need a little bit of like a historical background on like what that means and what a mojo bag is, right? So a mojo bag really contains your mojo. It contains your helping hand. It contains your magic, right? And the reason why I thought it'd be a really good idea to do this video is because I've noticed that so many of you guys already kind of have a mojo bag. If any of you guys have noticed that you have a little pouch or a little bag or a little box that you keep spiritual items, it could be incense, it could be crystals, it could be whatever you feel is a spiritual item for you, and they're all there because you feel like they're meant to do a certain thing. Like, so if you have a little tiny keepsake knick-knack paddywhack of something that you've created to like bring you something or to help you with something spiritually, congratulations, you've actually created a mojo bag and you probably just didn't know it. So we're going to go more in depth over mojo bag, kind of its uses, what you can kind of do with it, and then I'm going to show you how to actually create one, and it's going to be a fun one today because it's going to be a love mojo bag, and I know you guys like that, so let's do it. Okay, so first things first, I do want to say mojo bag, and the term mojo is actually a cultural thing. It is associated with sort of West African voodoo traditions and religions. Yes, I did say voodoo religions, but I don't have time to get into that today. I don't feel like doing politics at the moment, but like whatever, okay? And because of this, some of you watching this video may not be able to use the term mojo because it could be cultural appropriation. It is similar to how you should not use the word smudge if you're not Native American or indigenous, right? You should use smoke cleansing. It's kind of the same thing. For those of you that know that you don't fall into the sort of the cultural background to use the term mojo, you just use magic bag or magic pouch or something like that. This kind of contains your essence, ashe, so to speak, for my African sisters and brothers, okay? It's just that sort of magical helping hand, and you have taken that, that ashe, you've taken that energy, that magic, you've concentrated it, and you've put it in a place, and the idea is that it is meant to draw to you or attract to you what it is that you're hoping to get, right? Most people in sort of these traditional backgrounds, when they use a mojo bag, they're actually using it for love. The idea is attracting love to you, right? And so because of this, you want to be super diligent and responsible and make sure you know where your mojo bag is at all times. It's not something that you really share with other people. You don't tell other people where it is. And the idea is that you keep it on your person. You wear it, you keep it in your pocket, you keep it in your purse, you keep it in your backpack. And if you can't keep it on you, then you keep it hidden in a safe space that you and only you know where to find it. The idea behind this is if somebody gets your mojo bag and they run off with it, they now have all of your essence and energetic prowess, right, concentrated in a bag, and the idea is that they could use it against you if they wanted to use it against you. This is kind of where the term "I've lost my mojo" is for. Like, I've lost my mojo, how do I get my mojo back? Like, that's kind of where all of that comes from. When people say they've lost their mojo, they've lost their ashe, they've lost their magic, they've lost their magic bag, they've lost their mojo bag. And because mojo is usually associated with love magic, that's why people have the tendency to say they've lost their mojo when they're having a hard time flirting or having a hard time dating or like doing things like that. So that's kind of the background of mojo and mojo bag. So we are actually going to make one today. We are going to do one that is specifically for love because that's traditionally what mojo bags are used for. And I'm going to go over sort of the ingredients that I have, alternatives that you can use because I know that you're not going to have all of these, and stones that you can use for your mojo bag, right? So I have this bag that I'm actually going to be using for my mojo bag. I actually got it out of the Witch's Moon box, right? There is a smoky quartz that's kind of woven into the bag, and I'm going to use it because it has a strap, so I'll have the ability to sort of wear it if I need to wear it. I'm going to put everything in here. The majority of you guys will not have a bag like this, right? So if you have some kind of pouch that's lying around, maybe a tarot pouch that you could use, or maybe a pouch that you put your crystals in, you could use that too in order to create a mojo bag. If you are someone that's kind of crafty, maybe you have some extra fabric lying around, you could put all the things that you want to put on top of that fabric and then bunch it up if you would like, and then tie it shut. That's a way to create a mojo bag if that's something that you're into doing. And honestly, another alternative that you can use, guys, because magic is meant to be simple and you're not supposed to make yourself sick out of it, is just a Ziploc bag. If you don't have anything to put your mojo in, but you feel really excited and you want to try, you can put it in a Ziploc bag and then transfer it later. The issue with the Ziploc bag, though, is that it's transparent and you want to make sure that no one really sees it because it's your mojo. No one needs to see what's going on with your mojo, okay? So what I have here is some herbs. You're gonna want love attracting herbs, okay? You want herbs that have the ability to draw things to you, and herbs that are love. And if you can find an herb that does both of those at the same time, then use that one. Also use herbs that have a tendency to draw in luck if you can find them. Before I go into what I have and what they do, I do want to first reference this book, which is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. This book is fantastic. If you can't find what you want on the internet, you normally can't. You can find it in here. It'll tell you different herbs and their correspondence and like what they actually do. So this book also includes herbs that you can find in your kitchen cabinet, and it'll tell you what's in there, right? Amazon, go find it. So I am going to be using patchouli. A lot of you guys will have patchouli if you're just starting off. However, if you have a essential oil starter pack, right? Everybody has a starter pack of essential oils. They give you a lavender oil, a peppermint oil, right? Check your essential oil starter pack because some of them actually have patchouli essential oil in them. If you have that, use that instead. If you do not have patchouli, then it's okay. You can still do this, but if you have it, great. If you want to go get it, great. But the reason why I'm going to use this is, one, I have so many herbs, right? But two, it's a really good attracting herb, and it has a really good sort of characteristics for attracting wealth and money and success, but also love, and particularly sexuality, right? Because it's attracting. So if it's coming to you, it's attracted to you. So there's usually that extra sort of burning desire. What your mojo bag is really designed to do, it's not designed to capture one lover. So it's not designed to have someone that you like that doesn't want to be with you, and then you create this mojo bag and all of a sudden they like you. It just attracts lovers. It just attracts suitors, right? And it's your job to then go and be and practice the art of discernment and to pick some and then get rid of them, right? The idea is that it attracts people to you, right? You're making it magnetic for you. It's attracting a partner for you, right? So I'm going to be using patchouli because patchouli is a really, really, really good attraction herb for both luck, money, and love and sexuality. I've also still have some red sandalwood that I also use for love stuff, and I just have it lying around, so I'm going to use it. You most likely will not have this yourself. Do not worry about it. If you are someone that lives next to sort of like a witchy bookstore, sometimes I've noticed that this has a tendency to be carried, but it's seasonal. So again, if you can find it, great. If you can't find it, don't worry about it. I'm also going to be using poppy seeds because poppy seeds are also good for drawing love to you. So what I'm doing is choosing things that are not just love related. They are things that have a tendency to bring it to you, right? Like a magnet. I'm choosing magnetic herbs that have the ability to do that. Now, the majority of you guys won't have this, so I'm going to move to the side, and I'm going to tell you what you can use because I know you will have access to this. So lavender, right? Lavender is a good herb to use for love, right? It's not that hot, spicy love. It's sort of that calm, nurturing, sweet love because of the energy that lavender has. But lavender, if anyone has ever noticed, the buds of the flower are kind of shaped, they're phallic shape, right? And so they're really good for love. They are also really good for attracting same-sex partners as well. It's not only same-sex partners, but if you want a same-sex partner, lavender is particularly good for that. I'm also going to be using ginger. Ginger gives a kick to everything. It has a tendency to speed up magical processes, and it's a little bit spicy, right? Lavender is something that you may not have as a flower, but I guarantee you that you guys have an essential oil that is lavender, and you can use that too. Ginger is either in your cabinet, in your pantry, in your fridge, or you have ground ginger with all your spices. Use any of those. I suggest you use the ground ginger, the ginger spice. If you can get ground ginger from the dollar store too, so it wouldn't make yourself sick over it. If you don't have ground ginger but you have fresh ginger, I would suggest that you cut off some slivers, leave it overnight, and let it dry. Okay, and then use that. I'm also going to use allspice. Allspice is, for me, something that I've used for every magical thing that I do. For me, it's just because allspice signifies all spices. I use 4 of them, and usually what I'll do is take 4 allspice berries, dried berries, and I put them in the 4 corners of my home. I use them with literally any kind of magic that I do, and I'm suggesting it now because at this time of year, because it is pumpkin season, it is fall, there's just an abundance of allspice everywhere. Also, nutmeg. I don't have any more nutmeg, but during this time of year, because again it's fall and it's pumpkin season, I suggested I would figure that a lot of you guys have nutmeg too in the pantry, and nutmeg is good for love. It's good for luck, but there's also an aphrodisiac quality to nutmeg as well that you can use if that's your thing. Hey, I don't know, I don't want to judge. So these are going to be all the spices that we are actually going to use. In addition to that, I'm going to put some oils on it because I just want to be extra. You don't have to do this. Now, if you don't have any herb whatsoever, but all you have are essential oils, like if you have a bunch of lavender oil and you have some patchouli oil, get yourself a little love concoction of essential oils. You can dilute it with some olive oil and then use that, right? And then just go with that. Don't make yourself crazy because magic is supposed to be easy. In addition to that, you can use crystals and stones, right? And so, like, I've got a quartz crystal here. It's kind of big, but, you know, hey, it'll work. If you want to do a bag for some type of success or money drawing, you can use citrine, and you can use copper for the money and the business success, or you can use something like pyrite. Now, it's going to be way easier for you to find pyrite than it is going to be for you to find copper. I can't find my pyrite right now, so I'm just using copper, okay? You can also use amethyst. You can use labradorite if you want to do something. If you want to make a bag to sort of help you with your spiritual teachings and your spiritual travels, if you want to like start practicing astral traveling or whatever. And then you also have tiger's eye that you can use. It's a very traditional classic grounding stone if you want to do a mojo bag for grounding and protection, right? But because we're doing the fun stuff, we are doing all the love fun stuff, okay? I personally, for my stones, I am going to use lotus stones. So lotus stones are magnetite. They're magical stones. And typically in this kind of magic, you would have 2 stones, right? So when you work with lotus stones, you always want to have 2 stones. And when you're picking your lotus stones, you want to pick a stone that feels feminine to you, and you want to pick a stone that feels masculine to you, and you want to pick stones that have a tendency to fit together. Like they have nooks, or you know, and then they have a tendency to kind of fit or nestle into each other. You want to find 2 stones that are nestling into each other, right? The reason for this is lotus stones, because they're magnetite, they are said to attract the male and the feminine, the masculine and feminine energies. And because they have a tendency to nestle into each other, back in the day, it was said that this was kind of reminiscent of like coitus. So when you're doing this kind of magic, and that's the stuff that you're trying to attract into your life, you want to get things that symbolize that stuff. And so for this particular thing, we would do a lotus stone, so magnetite. So what I'm first going to do is feed my lotus stone with some magnetic sand, right? And magnetic sand is really just like some type of iron, something, I can't remember. I usually just have a pouch here, and then I feed it, because right now they're not charged, right? Because when I'm not using them, I don't have them sit in the sand like that. So I go back and I'll put both of them in the magnetic sand, get these babies charged up. And while they're charging, I will move on to creating my mojo. So I'm just gonna go ahead and feed my lotus stones, is what it's called, and just kind of leave it in the bag of magnetic sand for right now, while I get the rest of the stuff ready. So I'm going to take a Ziploc baggie, and then I'm going to assemble for the gods, honey. So we want a crap ton of patchouli, because patchouli is really going to be our thing that draws things to us, right? So we're just going to go for it. Like, we're just going to go for it. Nice and hearty patchouli. Right? I'm going to do some red sandalwood. Now, you can replace the red sandalwood with rose petals. I just don't have any more rose petals left, which is why I'm using red sandalwood instead. I have a tendency to sub it out. But I'm going to do a decent amount of red sandalwood. Now, when people do the pouches, a lot of times what they do is they just kind of allow the herbs to kind of float around in the pouch. I don't want to make my pouches dirty, so this is why I do it this way instead, because I like to reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. We've got some ginger here. Add some of that. We got some allspice. Now, if you use allspice berries, now allspice powder and allspice berries are the same thing. You don't have to pick one or the other. If you have the powder, it's just as sufficient. If you're working with the berries, I always use 4 berries, right? To signify 4 corners, right? It's almost like creating a perimeter or creating a boundary or something like that around something. And I use it for every spell that I do and every magical thing that I do, and as it seems to work, so. And then we're going to do some lavender. Just because I'm the type of person, personally, I just kind of like that calming, nurturing type of love. I don't really like that erratic type of stuff. It's just not me. So for me, this signifies just sort of the calming aspects of lavender, that I want that kind of energy in something. And then we're going to add the poppy seeds. Because they're so little, I'm just going to have to pour them in. Ooh, don't go crazy. And now what I'm going to do is add the oils. So I've got some John the Conqueror root oil. You won't have this. This is fine. If all you have is lavender oil, use your lavender oil. So I'm going to do some of that. And then I have my own oil that I've made ages ago, right? Which is grapeseed oil mixed with lavender oil, cinnamon. I don't remember what I put in here, but it's really just, it's called my Matters of the Heart oil. And I just mix things in here, like there's rose in here, there's red sandalwood in here, there's herbs in here that bring in, that draw in all of that stuff. And then I have these little sort of crystal chips that I have that I'm going to use. I have a bunch of rose quartz crystal chips, and rose quartz are really good when you're working with the heart chakra or just kind of emotions and feelings and also romance and different things like that. So I'm just going to do a bunch of these. We're going to throw that in the bag. And then we're going to give it a good, and I can't believe I almost forgot this. Sugar. People don't ever think about this, and this is what I always say, that magic is actually supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be something that's difficult. Sugar. Because you want the love to be sweet. You don't want to be drawing people to you that are assholes, no? We're going to close it up, and we're going to shake it. We're going to mush it together, really get it going. And what we have just done is create Mojo, right? So what we have are herbs that we have transformed into something magical, right? We have put Ashe into it. We have put our touch into it. And we have created something magical. We have created Mojo is what this is. So this is what you really are trying to keep safe, because now your essence is in it, right? So now what we're going to do, because the lotus stone should be done charging, And I do want to say that there's a lot of ways to do this. There are a lot of complicated ways to do this. Some people say you charge a load of stones under a full moon. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on and on about the way you do it, but I'm really trying to keep it simple on account of 1, laziness, and then 2, you guys are going to look at me like I don't even know what she's talking about. Okay, hold on. Can't open the bag. There it goes. So now we've got 2 fully charged lotus stones with magnetic sand stuck to it. Right? I'm going to put them in the bag of my mojo that I created, and now it's going to add to the mojo. And what it's doing is, because there's now magnets in the bag, it's now going to draw and attract that to me. Now, where do you get lotus stones from? A witchy bookstore. Always. And then they will also, anyone that carries a lotus stone should also carry the magnetic sand right next to it, because you have to charge them. So there we go. So now we're going to put it all into there, and if you look at my fingers, I don't know if you can see them, but they're black with the magnetic sand. So actually, let's bring that magnets in there, get all that good stuff, and then we're going to close it up. And this, everyone, is literally our mojo. So now what you would do is you would take your mojo and you would put it in a bag. So for me, in this case, I'm putting it in this pouch, right? For you, you may put it in a pouch like this, or you may put it in loose fabric that you can then knot up or tie up or something like that. So I'll put it in this bag. This is not my mojo bag that I've created. And then voila. And then so this is what people don't know about mojo bags. Mojo bags typically are worn on your persons, and actually I'm not going to do this all the way because I don't want to get my shirt dirty, but they're actually worn on you, and the idea is that because you're supposed to keep it on you, right? And if it's small enough, you can then tuck it into your shirt where it's safe and no one knows about it. You don't want to just leave your mojo bag out and about like that, unless you like live by yourself where you know no one else is going to see it. You don't want to leave your mojo bag unprotected because you don't want someone to touch your mojo, right? Because then they've just infused their energy into it, and you don't want that, and you don't want to lose it or somebody to run off with your mojo, right? But this is said to draw all of those things to you. So yeah, guys, this is going to be the end of this video because that's it. That's the whole thing, and that's how you do it. And I hope you guys kind of had fun with that different and new concept. And if you guys have any suggestions on what else, other things that you can use a mojo bag for or a money bag for, leave it in the comments. I'm sure other people would love to read it so they have more things that they can incorporate into their own practice. And as always, guys, if you liked what you see, please subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys soon.